Good evening, New Bedford Guide viewers and South Coast residents. Chris Resendes back again for the Chris Resendes Show. Josh started me up quick. I'm still loading my page up. As you all know, October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and something that we here at the New Bedford Guide take very seriously. We've pounded on it many times, and we're here to do it again. I went live from a fundraiser on Sunday in the middle of a Patriots game. We were all dedicated, and it was a success, and it was a very good feeling to see a bunch of people there, a bunch of friends standing up and doing the right thing for a good cause. First, I want to talk a little bit about today in the news. I'm sure all you guys heard about it, bombs being sent out to politicians here and there. I don't agree with any of the violence politically. I don't like it when the idiot Nazis get punched because they may deserve it, but this isn't a country where you assault people on their beliefs. I don't like it when you scare people with bombs. I don't like it when you threaten other people. And we need to come together. We need to kind of like shut down the national politics powder keg we got going on here. And just try to do what I do, man. Just focus on doing stuff locally. Try to really become aware of your local surroundings and the impact that you can have locally. I mean, if you help one person here locally, trust me, it's worth more than 1 million likes on Facebook for some stupid anti-Trump or anti-Hillary or anti-Bernie post on Facebook. You need to really settle in and do something good for your community, do something good for your neighbor, be kind, and act kind in front of your kids. Show them that that's the most important thing to be daily, is kind to others and accepting of other people's opinions. We're at a point in this country where we're at a very dangerous time, and I don't like it at all. So that's my little spiel, and I hope that each and every one of you gets a little something from it and thinks twice before you don't worry about the politics and I hate lefties and I hate righties and Trumpies and Hillarys and every other E's. I sound like my kid. He puts a Y behind everything. Any animal he names is like, he got a hedgehog, hedgie and all that stuff. So just be kind and do something locally. Donate a coat. We got some new locations. You know, donate to a foundation that helps out battered women. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Like I said, October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Jen, good friend of mine, we go back and forth. We've had her on a bunch of times. I visited with her on Sunday at her fundraiser. Huge success. And we're here again to talk about the realities, the inconvenient truth of men and women being beaten by the domestic partners. Something that no child should see, something that no woman or man should be exposed to. And if you have a little girl or a young son or anybody, maybe you should tune in tonight to hear the impact on how even just verbal assault will have on a child or a spouse or girlfriend or a boyfriend. No further ado, the real star of the show tonight, Jen Blum.
Hey everyone.
Jen, had you on a couple months ago with the spicy little boxer. How's she doing, by the way?
She's doing great. She's actually fighting a pretty big fight this weekend at Madison Square Garden.
Come on.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, she is. I was actually going to touch on that tonight, too. Yep, she's fighting at Madison Square Garden this Friday or Saturday night. I'm not sure which one. She's fighting Heather the Heat, which she has fought before, and unfortunately she lost, which she shouldn't have lost that fight. I was actually there for that fight in New York. Brooklyn last year or the year before, and so she has a rematch, so she's doing really good. Madison Square Garden's no joke.
No, that's the big time.
That is a big time.
We go there to watch UK games. I don't know if I'm going to Brooklyn this year. UK being University of Kentucky. My wife's from Kentucky.
Oh, yeah.
So our Christmas gift to each other is a couple of nights in New York City during the holidays, and we watch the Wildcats. They're a great team, but they also have a contract where they play up in New York every year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we stay with we got pictures with our dog. We bring our dog. We bring,
of course you do.
With the dog with the team, and we got the bulldog all dressed up. Totally digress, but my dog was in Times Square I mean, you've seen pictures of him, big bulldog. And we had him dressed up in all his Kentucky gear that weekend. And you know how they got the street performers?
Oh, yeah.
People coming up to us like, hey, how much to take a picture with your dog?
Because they charge for everything.
And I didn't know. I should have. Been
yeah,
like,
you should have. You should have capitalized.
A couple pizzas, Ozzy, here you go. We're going to get some of that medical money back because bulldogs are the most expensive breed, trust me. And they want to take pictures with them. But yeah, Madison Square Garden, that's huge.
That's a big
coming
fight.
up from what she comes, like
Yep.
she was beaten, sexually abused.
And I saw a post from her today, and basically it outlined that. It said, here I am at Madison Square Garden. I shouldn't even be alive today. I've fought rape. I've fought abuse. I mean, it's pretty magnificent. And there she is, and again, the fight of her life, I think she's 20-1 or 21-1. I mean,
yeah, I remember she only lost that one fight.
That one fight, and this is the rematch.
Because
right.
it was a local fight. Does she now? Because the person she fought, from what I remember, she was from New York.
Right, and she's fighting her again.
Are we gonna still?
Hopefully, we're not gonna see that happen again. But I give her a lot of credit. She's come a long way.
How's the foundation doing?
Foundation's doing great. The fundraiser was awesome over the weekend. Thank you so much for coming out. Yeah, we raised a lot of money. We met a lot of people. As I said then, and I say now, support your community, and your community supports you. I mean, it's just the way it goes, and it's a circle that it comes right back. And a lot of people see what we're doing. A lot of people have said, we go on the website, we follow your Facebook page, we see what's going on, we see all the stuff you're doing in the community, and that's why they're out there supporting us, because we're working, and people can see that we're working, because we're not shy about being out there and saying what we're doing and making sure we're helping as many people as we can. I was on the show last year, this time, Domestic Violence Awareness. Since then, in a year, a ton of stuff has happened. We've helped, I looked today, over 35 women, which is pretty significant. That's for awesome. A little nonprofit like us. And most importantly, that law went into legislation, and we had a lot of influence into that. So on the 2019 docket is a registry for repeat offenders of domestic violence, so that's a pretty big deal.
Now, you and I haven't really talked about that since our last conversation. And, I should have brought it up prior to the show, and I don't know how much we could talk about it on the show. Have you figured out how that...
I haven't figured out how the whole thing happened. I think at this point, I'm just happy that I had as much influence in it as I did.
Excellent.
I mean, it's in the budget. And
somebody stole Jen's idea out there, is what I'm saying. Jen wrote a whole law by herself.
I did.
A whole law by herself, and her and I reached out to other people, and I just connected them with her. And I think someone's stealing credit for Jen's law. I think that's what's happening, but it doesn't matter, because it's not about being Jen's law.
It's not. I put that part to rest. I put that to bed, and I'm just really excited that there is, 2019, we're going to have some legislation, which we need to have for repeat offenders of domestic violence, because they need to be held accountable. And,
I mean, we got animal abuse registry nowadays.
Absolutely.
I mean, seriously.
So
Mark
to think that
Montigny,
Massachusetts doesn't have a repeat offender domestic violence registry, I mean, come on. But
Mark Montigny literally skipped women and domestic violence victims and went straight to dogs, which is crazy. And at least now it's getting righted.
It's getting
now explain
righted.
The law, like what is it?
Well, I don't know what they're putting in. Hopefully they're going to bring me in and allow me to have more input than I've even already had, besides just putting it out there and legislation being put into action. But what I would like to see, and once they reach out to me, we're going to talk about that, is repeat offender. Because you just can't go around doing the same thing over and over again and not be held accountable for that. There needs to be some kind of registry, which we're going to have, that holds you accountable for the fact that, if you choose to go beat men and women that you're in a relationship with, well, you can't keep doing that, and you can't keep getting away from it.
No, you do with sex offenders, I don't understand. I mean, you've been tried,
Exactly.
You've been convicted.
If you're tried and convicted, exactly, and if you've been tried and convicted more than once, clearly you have a problem that, is you're not being rehabilitated as the system seems to want to take credit for rehabilitating people.
Now, I want to ask about the rehabilitation part. I mean, how can we track, how the level 1 sex offender, level 2 sex offender, most likely to,
Right.
do you find that to be a stumbling block in this law? Like how, because you know that somebody's going to defend them.
Somebody is going to defend them. That was one of the hardest things, and that was where, we came in, and, one of the biggest things they said to me was, we need you to get Jane Doe on board. Well, I happen to know the founder of Jane Doe, and so she was on board. So, once that ball got rolling, and, we had people from organizations that were not going to oppose it, which you'd think it wasn't going to be opposed, but there are people. However, when it went into the budget, it actually faced zero opposition, which should have been the way it was anyway. But you never know, because there's these people that say, well, they have rights too. Well, they kind of forfeited their rights when they chose to reoffend.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have to keep an eye on that because, like you said, I want to see the people that say no to this. I hope it's nobody locally.
I hope it's nobody locally as well. And I also would like to do more research within the prison systems to see what they consider rehabilitation. Because, these men and women, and they go into the prison systems and they're supposedly rehabilitated, and they've gone through X amount of hours of class, and now they have all this time off from their prison sentence because they've been rehabilitated, but then they come back and reoffend. So I would love to know, and I'm going to do more research on that. It's going to be the next part, is what exactly are those classes? How are you...
Have you ever attended a batterer's class?
Here, like as far as, not in the prison systems, but I've attended batterers classes, but it's been mostly other battered women. So I haven't really had an opportunity.
The ones that are court-ordered, because a lot of men are court-ordered to attend these batterers classes.
They are. I haven't been in any with court-ordered men. I've been in more batterers classes with women like myself who are survivors versus, but I would like to be on the other side, because I'd like to...
I mentioned it to one of the guys at the jail, like you and I are going to be...
We talked about that,
We're going to be doing the show with female inmates who are abuse victims, and to see if the part that their incarceration, the part of being a victim that played part in them now being imprisoned. Incarcerated.
Yes.
And to see, like, I'm sure it has something to do with them being there,
I'm sure it does too, because...
There were days you could have gone both ways here.
Yeah,
right?
There's a hopelessness that you feel. And that's another thing that, once again, we got out of the fundraiser. I mean, being in the community and meeting people in the community, it's pretty amazing, because that's why I do so much in the community. You don't realize how many people come out to see you. You don't realize how much of an impact you have on just being present and people wanting to see you. I mean, the charity event that I did last month where I had a fake wedding, I went in there just doing my normal modeling thing, and it was simple. And 2 weeks later, I got a call from a fellow model who I had just met for the first time at that event. She learned about me. They spotlighted me in that event for everything I do in the community, which was pretty fantastic. But she's not a victim, but she has a very dear friend that's a victim that's not ready to come forward and not ready to leave her husband, but she happened to be going on a family vacation out of state. And this woman called me up and she said, I wish I had talked to you more. I had no idea the influence you have in the community, but my friend's going away for a week and I'm scared to death. I don't know what's going to happen to her. And out of a simple conversation, she got, out of all the things I told her, one of the key things that she took from it and utilized was, okay, well, find out where she's staying. Make sure that every single day she checks in with you so that you know every single day that she's still alive and that she's okay. And that's what she did. And she called me last week and said, my friend's back, and I slept that night because you guided me to something I hadn't even thought about. All I kept thinking was, I don't want her to go, and how am I going to know if she's okay? And
this whole topic now just makes me want to ask you questions in your situation, because day-to-day women have to be places.
They do.
You had to be here or there during your time.
Yep.
And now, when you go away on vacation, did you ever go away on vacation where it was just you, your batterer, and your kids? Where it was only you guys, where there wouldn't be where you could hide stuff, where he could hide stuff,
There was only one vacation that we actually went on, and Mason, my youngest, wasn't even born. I was actually pregnant for him. So there was only one vacation that we ever went on together as a family.
Yeah, so, You understand what I'm trying to get
I
at?
understand.
Because you don't have like the little parachutes, the daily parachutes that the victim has. Like, oh, I got to go to my mom. So I'm,
exactly, and you don't have the accessibility to just get in a car and drive away.
You're on vacation. You're in Florida
and go to
somewhere.
someone's house. Exactly,
Hampshire,
you don't have that accessibility. You're absolutely right, and that's why it was important, with this woman to explain to her that, okay, you can't be there, you can't help your friend from there, but you certainly can make sure she checks in with you every day. You can make sure you know exactly where she's staying. So if you don't hear from her, you can send someone to check on the room to make sure that everything's okay. Little things like that go a long way. Like, her friend felt more comfortable than she did prior to speaking with me, because now she at least had an outlet where she could say, okay, well, I can't be there with you. I don't know where you're going to go. Like, this woman typically goes to her sister's house when something bad happens in the house. Obviously, they're in Florida is where they were for 7 days and has no place to go. And now at least she had an outlet where she could call her friend every day and say, okay, we're okay today. Okay, things are okay today. We're still around.
So at what point is this girl going to come forward and just get out of the situation?
When she's ready. That's what it's all about, is when they're ready. I mean, you can't force anybody into it. In fact, as soon as you start forcing women to come forward, the rate of return is so high, because you got to make sure those resources are all in order before someone can just walk away. I mean, you really do.
It's not just like jump out of the plane?
It's really not, because, you look around here and, 2 weeks ago we were trying to get women into shelters and we can't, because we don't have enough. So women, first of all, hardly want to go into a shelter, because it's not what they envision their life, to be in a shelter with their children, to not have any of the stuff, not have their belongings.
The guilt for the children.
The guilt for the children, and, the loss of everything. You take a child out of a home, no matter how bad the home is. I always relate it to DCF, right?
Yeah.
DCF's job is to go in and take children away from their parents when their parents are not doing the right thing by their children, when there's abuse, when there's neglect. But those children don't understand that, because they've grown up in that life. So now when you're taking a child out of their home and out of their element, they don't understand. You're the bad guy. You're not the good guy that's saving their life. You're the bad guy because you just took them away from all that they've ever known in their life. It's the same idea. You take a battered woman out of a situation that she's not ready to leave because she doesn't have all of her finances in order. She doesn't know what she's going to do for daycare for her children, or how she's going to do this on her own. You have to wait until they're ready to come forward. And in the meantime, in a sense, pray that nothing really bad happens to them while they're trying to make that transition.
That's tough.
It is tough.
It's the weirdest thing. Like, man, I can't get there because, my wife and I, we're married. We got into like a little spat the other day, just like, the normal bickering. And the kids were like, you guys fighting? Right. And now they're at that age, 6 years old.
They see it. They know.
My 3-year-old's like, she's just smart. She's like, hey, what's going on? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh boy. And there's a huge amount of guilt that I felt. Yeah. For not being two adults, not being able to control ourselves, just having, the regular lovers quarrel, And it was, I don't even know what it was. It was so unimportant. Right. And it could have waited. Right. But there was so much guilt there. And I still, now I'm talking about it, I'm embarrassed. It's the craziest thing. So, I understand the part, not so much as being the victim, because I'll never I never understood the victim end of it, but the guilt associated. The guilt part. Yeah, the guilt part where you're like, oh, God, I don't want my kids to see this. Right. As you're getting your face beaten in. Right. You're thinking about them. Right. And you don't want your kids to see that, and then you leave, and you don't want your kids to, my sons have seen the struggle, which for my sons, because of what I've done and because of how much I've accomplished, the struggle was good for them to see. They saw us go from a really great house to a basement. They saw us going from having whatever we wanted to having nothing. But now they've watched this rise in which I've taken care of everything. It's okay. So as much as you don't want them to ever see that struggle, in my own circumstance, I'm not saying it's been good for my children to see the struggle, but it's been good for them to see, okay, we got out of this situation, we've bettered our lives, and look where it's gotten us. Look at how many people we help. I mean, the amount of people that my sons get to see us That's cool.
help it's pretty amazing. You got to talk to Hunter.
He's a good kid.
He is a good kid. And Mason's a great kid. And, you know, I mean, the community event for Cuts for Kids, who was there with me? Mason was there with me.
Mason and DJ Frank.
And DJ Frank, you know. And,
I was like totally expecting you to be like, great, now I got to go buy $1,000 worth of DJ equipment.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, I'm sure that's in his future somewhere. But, you know, everything that I do includes my sons. So when we do community events, you know, they're at every community event that I do. Every community event that I do, those boys are right beside me because I want them to see the impact of what we're doing. I want them to see what not succumbing to your situation does, what making sure you're strong enough to get through it, what not letting anything bring you down. Like, that's what they get to experience. That's what they get to witness on a daily basis.
And that's going to, like, honestly, your son, like, Hunter, the big one. Little guy still, like, you know what I mean? He just wants to mess around. He helped me with the little tickets.
Yeah, he did.
He's so excited. He's like, oh, we're going to put some in here. It's like a shot glass
Which
game.
I totally forgot to bring, but you did win the tanning package. So.
I won a tanning package.
You won a tanning package.
Honey, you won a tanning package.
And he was so excited that you won the tanning package because you gave him all your tickets before.
Yeah.
So we had your tickets over here and his tickets over here, and you had them all separated.
I'm a winner.
Oh, yeah, you're a winner.
How about this? We'll just donate that. Next girl that needs someone to go to feel good about herself. You know, just send her, give her my package. That'll work. I can't tan. I used to, man. I used to actually go to Sunkist a lot.
There's no question in my mind that you did. Those were your days, man.
Yeah, they were. Hey, Josh, we gotta pay the bills here. All right, everybody. Word from our sponsor, Mark Santos. We'll be right back with Jen, and we're gonna get more into the story of a victim during Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Hi, I'm Mark Santos, your Bristol County Clerk of Courts. One of my office's many responsibilities, proudly, is the naturalization of qualified aliens as American citizens. If re-elected, I will continue to uphold the rights of all people in Bristol County and to make sure your Superior Court works for you. I'm Mark Santos, your Clerk of Courts, and I respectfully ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 6th.
Paid for by the Santos Committee.
Thanks, Mark, for sponsoring this very important show. I'm not endorsing Mark in any which way at all by this commercial, but he is paying for the show, and thank you because it does help to get this word out. But just do one thing, folks. If you are watching and you want to make a difference in your community, vote on Election Day. It's your #1 job as a U.S. citizen. Plenty of people in this world that are dying to come in. There's a whole caravan coming up right through Mexico right now that would love the right to vote. And there's only about 50% of the country that actually does it. So take the opportunity and do so this November. Where were we, Jen? The Hunter. That's what I want to talk about. I tried to get him on, and we discussed it. And, you know, it's tough as a kid. And I swear we're going to get him to come on because, you know, we've had victims on. Yourself, Ashley, Rocky.
Rocky, a.k.a. Shelly.
And Shalita. And I'm really intrigued by your son. I really am. Because of our relationship, yours and mine. And to see how good he's doing and see how involved he is in your events. And, you know, and he's just a good kid.
Yeah, and he was right there to, you know, we sold out of bracelets again. We sell out of bracelets as fast as we get them, and he was there, you know, he manned the bracelets, he did the jerseys, like that was his job, and he's very proud to do all that stuff. And you saw all the people that were there with the jerseys on. I mean,
all the softball guys.
It's pretty
all the
amazing.
guys down at Ashley Park. If you have any pull at City Hall, men's league back at City Hall, let's get a fence up there.
Yeah, let's get a fence
up. A lot of the local businesses are very upset that league is not there.
Yep.
The convenience stores, the pizza places, the barbershops, all that stuff in that area that's pretty hard up for business right now. They're upset that league's not there. It's not there because the city won't put up a fence. I know money doesn't grow on trees, but Joe Lopes, if you're watching, let's get a fence up there. That's your, let's get that league back going. It's a positive, 6-month usage of city property that actually helps out local businesses.
And it brings a lot of people. I mean, we've been down Ashley Park a lot. You know, we've been there for 2 years watching games, and it was pretty amazing. So it brings a lot of people out, brings a lot of people from the streets out. I mean,
We've had
it's a great following.
there. The money raised at those softball tournaments for families,
Absolutely.
victims, everything is amazing.
And
It's a
even
necessity.
when the softball team went to Florida this year to play at the ESPN Worlds, the first game, every single person on that field had a jersey on, one of our jerseys on. And that was pretty amazing. And when I was here, and they sent me the picture, and it was pretty awesome seeing.
By jersey, the viewers probably don't know, and I didn't do my job today. I've been so busy, and I even did laundry today, so cut me some slack.
Did you do laundry that consisted of a jersey?
I don't think I did a jersey.
I don't think you did a
I
jersey.
got a jersey.
I got one for you, man.
No, yeah, I don't want anything for free. I'm gonna get the jersey. I don't know what size to get. I was telling Josh that I've lost weight, but
You have lost weight.
I'm
That's
terrible
the first thing
right
I said
now.
to you the other day.
I am. I slammed a pizza before the show.
I find that
I'm
hard
like-
to believe,
I'm
but
like, I'm like, I want to take a nap right now, and so I don't know the reason why I'm talking about this, because I don't know whether I should get a large or an extra large right now. I'm right there. On
well,
the
they
cup.
run big, so I'm going to say you should probably get a large because they run
Alright.
pretty large. Yeah.
So the jerseys, what are they?
Well, actually, we have a full line of apparel now. It's not even just jerseys. So they came out with hats, they came out with sweatshirts, they came out with the women's jerseys, they came out with the women's tank tops, and they came out with the regular jersey. So the jerseys basically have the Help State Foundation all over them. Jeff was awesome enough, and he thought of this on his own. He actually designed all of it on his own, which was pretty cool. And the jerseys that everybody buys, the jerseys that the team wore, they all had their individual numbers, because you can't just have one number on that field. But the jerseys that are for sale all have the number 13 on them for the 13 years that I was involved in domestic violence. So that was pretty impactful, and I was pretty impressed with
thoughtful
that.
dude right there.
It was a thoughtful thing to do, yes. So
I see a
there's
different
a
side
whole...
of Jeff when you're around.
Yeah, you
know
do.
that? I'm just used to him being like the jolly big dude, you know what I mean? That just out there having fun at the field. But he's a lot more than that. I was watching him with your little guy.
Yeah.
Actually, both sons. He's
Yeah.
really good with them.
He's really good with them. Yeah, it's great. But the jerseys are on sale. You can typically, the best way to buy them is through All the Way Live. They're a company out of Florida, and they actually made all the jerseys, designed all the jerseys. It takes a little while to get them because they print them to order. So if you order one, it takes about 2 weeks to get it because they're not printing out a mass amount of them. They're printing them out as to order. But we came out with a whole bunch of other apparel, so it's pretty crazy that, we have apparel, we have bracelets. I mean,
Where does money go to?
the money, well, a proceed of the money, not all of the money comes to us, but the money that does come to us, it filters right back into our community.
Tell these people, like, the Help Save Foundation, you're here, you're a victim.
What are we doing?
You help 35 women. Help 35 women do what?
So many, there's such an array of ways that we help, okay? So some of it's because people need attorneys. Some of it's because people need counseling. Other things are, I was just telling you a story about a woman that contacted us, and she got her restraining order, and, the husband wanted to come and collect his belongings, and the police sat there, and he collected every single item in that house. He left her with no toothpaste, no food, nothing. So, she knows about us. She reached out and said, I need help. I don't even have toothpaste. I have no money. This is the person that's been supporting me all these years. I have a part-time job, but that's going to pay the rent. Like, all I have is a bed in my house. I have no TV. I have no nothing. Now, things like TV, we're not going to help you out with because that's a monetary thing that, you can do without.
Luxury.
Read a book, that kind of thing. But some women, they leave with no clothes, and that happens so often. When women leave and they flee with themselves. They flee with their children. So their children don't have clothes. Their children don't have food. They don't have clothes. Most of the time, they don't even think about themselves. All they think about is their children. And so they contact us, we do the research, we make sure this is legit and that this woman needs help. There's a process, we want you to go for a restraining order. We want to make sure that you're going to be safe. Some women call, they have no place to go. It amazes me how many women call us and say, I have no place to go. You have no family? No family that will accept me. Why? Because you've left 4 times prior. and now they're fed up. And that's sad, because
gave up on
we don't want to hear that. I don't.
You know, somewhat, I do a lot of shows with addicts, and there are so many similarities between the addict
so many.
and the battered woman.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Absolutely. It really is.
And that's another one right there.
Yeah.
I put him in rehab 3-4 times. The hell with him already. I cut him off.
Yeah, but it's my own child.
Keeps going back to that jerk, or
Yep.
keeps going back to the drugs.
Yep.
Same,
You see it all the time.
I'm like, wow.
Do you have any friends? Last week we got a call, and a friend had kept a woman for the night, but now she can't stay anymore because her husband said, she can't stay here.
Yeah.
He's going to come. He's going to come after her. Well, where does that woman go? There's no shelters available. There's no beds available. Now what do we do? The first thing I say is contact the shelters. See what they can do for you. If you can't get in there, contact Catholic Services. Catholic Services is amazing. They help a lot of people. They're willing to help with rent. They're willing to help with food. They're even willing to, they have contracts with people that will bring you a bed if you have no beds, But once they've gone through those resources and there's no help for them, I'm their help. So that's what I'm going to do. And your money, anything that's donated into the foundation goes right back into our community to help our community. And that's why we see at all of our events as many people as we do. Even when I did the fashion show, there were people that were there because they were supporting me and they were supporting what I do. And because I was there, they wanted to be part of that, and they wanted to make sure they showed their presence because they appreciated what I had done for them, or a family member, or someone they knew, because every call that comes through, I personally answer it. Every person that needs to talk, I personally talk to them.
That's amazing.
Goes a long way.
My guy Asaya, by the way, shout out to Asaya. He's going to have a little spot back on the show here on one of these episodes. I got to find the right one. He's asking a question, but the reason why I'm giving him a shout out, he took all his grades up. He's not on the show anymore because he sucked at school,
yes.
and he was acting like a knucklehead, and I was getting calls from his guidance counselor. But
he was actually on the first show that I was here with you on. Yeah.
He just A's and B's.
Yeah, good for him.
But he asked a good question.
And tell him to bring that report card down to New Bedford Barber Company, because they're...
Yeah. Oh, we're working. Joey and I are working on something.
Yeah, they're
we're trying
doing
to do
good
like a
stuff.
citywide thing, but we're trying to figure out how we don't get scammed too.
Right.
As a part of it, like good grade dollars or whatever.
Yeah, good grade dollars, yeah.
Great fades for grades, and
but even him, I walk in I was there today for the boys to get their haircuts. But last week I walked in there, I said, hey, Jeff, I have a fundraiser this weekend. What do you want to do? He's like, here's a gift certificate. See you later.
Yeah.
Dude's
it's
awesome. Incredible. Yeah, he is awesome.
He's been... But as I asked, what's the scariest part? I think we've already touched upon this on a past episode, but let's just say it again. What's the scariest part about coming forward, and why do some people never do it?
Okay, so from my perspective, the scariest part of coming forward was that it was drilled into my head that when I came forward, or if I came forward, there was no one that was going to help me. So, and that's going to lead me into actually something that happened at the fundraiser that was pretty significant. But once you've been in a domestic situation for so long, you truly don't know if there's anyone that's going to help you. There wasn't as much awareness, and there wasn't as many people like myself that were out there talking about it and showing that, we're here to help you and that you're not the only person and you're not going to do this alone. There weren't as many people out there, for instance, when I came forward. So I know I said this before, and I'll say it again. When I was in the police department, going through everything, not even everything that had happened, just the initial thing that had happened, they asked me, what my biggest fear was, and I said that I'm not going to make it through this, that I'm not going to be alive when this is over, because it was instilled in my head that I better never come forward, and if I do come forward, I'm not going to make it out of it. So I distinctly remember saying, I just want to live. I just want to get through this. I want to get through this process, and I want to be alive when it's done, because I truly did not believe that I would be alive today, let alone going through the entire process. So, why do women not come forward? Again, it goes back to fear. Shame. Finances play a huge role.
Oh, yeah.
Because, when you're on the end of being someone that's being battered, you're typically secluded. You're typically not working. if you are working, you're working a job that, is accessible for them to keep tabs on you at all times. Financially, you might make some money, but you're not necessarily the breadwinner of the entire family. So now you have to figure out how you're going to financially support not only yourself, but if you have children involved. Those are big. Money and finances control our lives. This is how we all live. You take that out of the equation and you have a woman that now has absolutely nothing and no place to go, you're going to go back. What else are you going to do?
100%. And that's the worst part. So when you're holding, keeping it like hostage.
You are hostage.
You're hostage.
I mean, you really are.
Between
fear, you've already experienced so much being battered, and depending on the level and the person that was the abuser. Mine was pretty extreme, so I thought for sure that I would not be alive. Some of them aren't as extreme as that, but that fear alone, it keeps women from coming forward. It keeps men from coming forward. And then you have the shame of it. Like, how could people, I still have people that say to me, still to this day, how could she let that happen to her? Not speaking of me, speaking of loved one of theirs or a friend of theirs. It's not a matter of how you let that happen to you. Where are you going to go? Who are you going to talk to?
It's a victim. You're a victim.
Exactly.
Like, it's not like, I got robbed in the parking lot. How'd you let that happen?
How you let that happen to you? You try to get through everyday life. You try to keep the peace as much as you can. And, on the days that there is no peace, some days you're just wishing it would just all be over.
Terrible.
No matter what the stake is in that aspect. But as far as the fundraiser is concerned, okay, you came out, of course, because you're such an awesome supporter, and you did a live broadcast. And thank God you did do a live broadcast, because unfortunately you were gone, and I wish that you were still there so you could see the impact that you have on what we're doing. And someone saw your broadcast. She took her friend, put her friend in the car, did not tell her where they were going, and she brought her to the fundraiser and said, I needed her to meet you so she could see this face of strength. And I thought, wow. This woman had just left her husband, has no idea what she has in store for her or what she's going to do, has thought several times about going back. And here was this friend who saw where you were, saw where I was, and said, I need to bring her there. And I've talked to her for 3 days since. So, the impact that we have in the community, there's no words for it. And that's why I keep pushing forward and keep doing what I'm doing, because no matter where I am, something's coming out of it, and it's all for the positive. And she didn't even want to talk to me. She just wanted her to meet me. That's it. So that she knew. And when she got there, and I took her and I said, look around. Look around at all the support that you have. You're not alone. There are so many women here today that are silent survivors, that are here because they're survivors, haven't spoken up about it, but they're here to support it because we're all together. And that's important. And it happened to be a big turnout. So there I was, looking around saying, look at all of these people, men and women. These people are all here because they want to help, because they're interested in helping, because they themselves are survivors. We are not alone. It's important.
That's a big, big statement right there. I just found that out today.
I like dropping bombs on you.
I know. No, hey, listen, I started this show I think you were my third guest or something like that. And I honestly thought it was going to be some political slang, just go out and just do politics stuff. And, it turned out to be something totally different. And a large part of it is the phone call that I got after our show. That you instantly helped someone that next night. You brought somebody into 2 people, I think, from that show.
2 people from that show.
And from that point on, you changed something in me. That, this show wasn't about me. It was about helping people. I had a platform. And, a lot of the stuff I do now is based off of, the toy drives, the cuts for kids, all this stuff that I try to do now. I've always been that type of person, but this wasn't the intention of the show. And now it becomes my goal is to help somebody. Every time I go on this Facebook show, And it's because of you, honestly. You know?
Well, thank you. But
not
I mean,
because-
I called you that day because I knew it was important for you to realize that, you know, what you started out doing is turning into so much more. And, you know, it's important for people to understand that when they're reaching out and they're having people like me or anybody else on the show that has an impact in the community and is out there helping, you're actually helping people. Like, this is important. It's not just a show. It's a show where people can relate, where people are listening and watching. And even if someone gets something out of, you know, what we said about the woman that was in Florida, I mean, that's another avenue for a friend to take to be able to help their friend. Call them every single day. Make sure they're okay. Keep in touch, you know? I mean, your impact in the community has been huge. All the stuff that you've done. And there are so many other people in the community doing the same thing.
Gosh.
Like, I met...
David Lima was on today. He's what's that, Josh, committee or alliance, like 3006, that he's got more acronyms that he's tied into than anybody on earth. It's the craziest thing. And there's so many people doing good stuff, and that's why I started the show off, Jen.
Yep.
Like, you know, we got people sending bombs to the ex-presidents. Like, you know, some of those people I named I don't like.
Yep.
But gosh, they don't deserve that.
They don't deserve that.
And it's not even them. It's not even going to do that. When those things blows up, it's going to be the poor guy that has 4 kids that's making $50,000 a year, going sorting mail for high-profile people, and his kids aren't going to eat because some idiot is so tied up and so, like, hurt by national politics when they shouldn't be. Like,
when they shouldn't be.
Do stuff locally. Like,
do stuff locally. I mean...
Look at the impact you've had. 35 different women right
this
now.
year.
This year.
For a little tiny... I mean, I'm not a huge organization. I'm
like,
a little organization that,
you
you
probably
know...
saved somebody from getting killed.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we have saved several people from getting killed, which is amazing. And we've been able to link up with some really great people, you know? I mean, Alicia Bredberg. I met her recently, and I just found out that she's in her 9th or 10th year of doing a coat drive. She does it every year during domestic violence awareness. Come on, that's pretty awesome. You know how much she does for our community?
Yeah.
You know, it's a matter of all tying in and giving back and making sure that everyone in our community, whether it's addiction, whether it's sexual assault, whether it's domestic violence, there are so many resources in our community, within our community, to help.
It's just
We just don't know about it.
Yeah, it's just good people, and that's why I tell everybody, email me. Chris at New Bedford Guide. If you want me to spotlight something, I got something from foster care. After I did the Brandy show, somebody said, you know, I get tagged in these things, like dun, 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 like the Batman sign on the thing. Come help Chris do a DCF foster kid program.
Yep.
But I had those 2 girls on, Brandy and Sarah.
Yep.
I reached out to them. I said, here's a screenshot of an email I got. Super busy. I need you. Like, oh, this is awesome. This is what we wanted to do. So now Brandy and Sarah are gonna, you know, I'm gonna link them up with the woman who sent me the email. And that's just another local people making a difference, helping children, helping abuse victims, helping,
Absolutely.
you know, and
how did the fundraiser come about? I really didn't have anything to do with that fundraiser. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, I had my hands full this year. This month has been a crazy month with people coming forward. And I really hadn't even had too much thought in putting a fundraiser together. And what happened? Rochelle Xavier wanted to do a launch of her Sassy Mermaid. And she happened to be talking to her very good friend, Jody Lammy, who works with me. And she said, I want to launch it during Domestic Violence Month, and I want to help a foundation for domestic violence. And Jody said, hey, I know the perfect person for this. And the first time I ever met Rochelle was at the fundraiser.
Oh, really?
I had never even met the woman.
So
I
she
spoke
set
with
that
her.
all up.
She set, her village was unbelievable. You saw the food display.
oh yeah, it's good.
All of that food was made by friends and family that she knows, all homemade. They had been cooking all weekend long. The cookies that they made, I mean, those were handcrafted cookies. They had beautiful purple ribbon cookies. I mean, it was amazing, from the centerpieces to every part of it, to all the raffles. I had no part of that. The part that I had in it was showing up, accepting it, and getting the benefits of everything that people poured into it. And that was because somebody else said, I know this woman that does a lot in the community for domestic violence. You want to do something for domestic violence? I know the perfect person. Had nothing to do with me. But again, the community work that I do, the outreach that we do, I mean, that's how that whole thing happened.
Raise good money too.
And we raise good money, and shout out to both of them because they're pretty amazing women for thinking of us and being so passionate about domestic violence and wanting to make sure that, you know, there was awareness there, and they had a very successful fundraiser.
Let's
and
give
to
her a
the
plug.
Eagles.
What's the
Sassy Mermaid.
what is the Sassy Mermaid? I'm sure.
It's a cosmetic, not a cosmetic line, a skincare line.
Skincare line. So look it
Yeah.
up. They're on Facebook, right?
There, I believe, yes, they are on
I'll
Facebook.
link it up at the end of the show. My good boy, buddy Joe Costa from Citizens Bank's watching. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Joe's been awesome. He's doing the help me with cuts for kids, and now he's setting up. He's got me into all kinds of banks doing the spread the warmth donation boxes. Great
Yep.
guy. Good friend it turned out to be. I always like seeing the people that you meet throughout this process.
Right.
And Joe's like, I just want to help you. What can I do? And that's how I met him.
And Cuts for Kids was an amazing event. I mean,
Yeah.
you did a great job.
You did
I
a
mean,
great job.
I-
She did everything at the boys' club. So if you're at the boys' club, it has nothing to do with me. And that was the hottest time, Josh. That was oh my God, it was a
It
terribly
was
hot day.
hot. It was definitely
You know?
hot. Our barbers and our stylists, we were
It was
sweating
like
in
the
there.
best setup as far as like the mirrors and the room all by
Absolutely.
itself and the hallway. But it was the hottest. The guys at the North End Library had the worst, but they had a huge little thermostat right next to them.
Yeah.
And they were like 60 degrees. You know what I mean? It was, but
And our guys stayed. I
Oh,
mean,
dude.
the event was 11 to 3.
yeah, Sandro and all
Our
them
guys
from
stayed
Upcuts.
till 4:30. You know, men and women, both. I mean, they stayed till 4:30. We couldn't even deny. I remember eventually the police officers were like, Jen, we got to shut the doors.
Yeah.
Like, we can't keep letting people in. And, you know, our barbers were like, no, keep letting them in. Keep letting them in. Like, we're just going to keep going and
The
going.
uppercut guy stayed late.
Yeah, they did a great job. And we did like 115 cuts just out of that location and in that few hours.
That was
I mean,
nice.
I did want to, I have to tell you that when I got there and realized you weren't there, I was like, oh man,
You're gonna kill me.
look what he did.
No, I knew it. Listen, this is what she does.
But we
Rises
handled
to the
it.
occasion.
Yeah, I
And
rose
was
to the
like-
occasion. And,
I got so much credit for that day, and I'm like, I gotta make sure that everybody knows that Jen kicked ass that day.
and we did. And, you know, we were hot. And again, you did another broadcast. And Sean Riley came right down with a fan
Fan.
for us.
Sean's
He's
awesome.
like, here you go. Here's a fan. You know, keep you guys cool, which we utilized. Sorry, Sean, we didn't get that back to you.
Look him up if your kid is really into baseball. Sean Riley is
Inside
like
the park.
super baseball coach.
Absolutely.
Once my kid gets the attention span of more than 3 seconds, he'll be
He'll be
visiting
there.
you, Sean.
Yep.
Jen, we have touched upon a bunch of things.
As always.
But one thing I really want to talk about for the next couple of minutes is my wife is telling me there's a lot of young women at school being abused. Like, it's almost like normal now to hit your girlfriend
Yep.
in New Bedford. It's crazy. Like, she's like, it's they just hit each other.
Yep.
As a parent, like, you know, look, what do you tell parents today, like, about your daughters coming home as abuse victims? What guidance, what to look for, how to talk to them about it?
You know, talking to young adults about it, it seems easy. However, it is very prevalent in everything that's happening right now, especially with our youth. Unfortunately, I don't want to go back to the learned behavior, but it's, you know, if you're seeing it at home, you're accepting it on the outside. It's one thing with my own children I'm very grateful for is that we've broken that cycle. But in a lot of households, you're not breaking that cycle. And the most important part is to respect each other within your household. You know, if you or your husband or your wife, you feel the need to have an all-out brawl where it's verbal, then you need to separate yourself and not allow that, because I see it. And I see a lot of girls and boys being talked to in ways that they should never accept being spoken to. But it's like the norm. And then we have, you know, the stars out there that are doing stuff like that kid X or X Temptation or whatever, you know? I mean, I didn't have any sympathy, as sad as that is. I mean, he lost his life. But I saw a very graphic video where he had beat the hell out of his pregnant girlfriend to the point where her eye was like falling out of her head. And yet, we
People go to
superstarred this guy. You know what I mean?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like if you do the research and you look him
I just saw
up.
a dude with a bunch of weird tattoos on his face.
Yeah, but that dude with weird tattoos,
Yeah,
I still see it like on Instagram and on Facebook, and people are like, XXX, RIP, we miss you so much. And I'm thinking, what the hell are you thinking? What are you teaching your kids? At least pay attention to what they're doing and what they're thinking is wonderful, because this guy nearly killed his pregnant girlfriend. And because he got off, because they didn't find him guilty, it seems to be like it was okay. No, he's got millions of dollars. I mean, look at the guy that was just suspended for 75 games from baseball for beating his girlfriend. I'm sorry, why are you even in the major leagues?
Yeah.
Why are you not out 75 games? I understand that probably hurt his pocket pretty badly, but
Half a season.
Why are
Get
you
two
playing?
instead of 4 million?
right. I mean, why are you allowed? Why are we allowing people like that are supposed to be role models for our children and in our community to treat others like that and say, oh, well, we gave him a 75-game suspension?
Here's where you and I disconnect a little bit. I don't think, like, no sports star, no rap star is my kid's role model.
Absolutely not.
And I tell them, like, don't look at those idiots at all. Like, I just, like, Charles Barkley said it. He's like, I'm a basketball player.
He did.
Raise your own kids.
That's correct.
You know?
Yep.
So that's parents just being lazy.
It is. Well, look at it, though.
Yeah, when you say role models, like, no, they're not my kid's role. You know who's my kid's role model?
You
Me.
are your kid's role model.
You know?
Absolutely. We are our children's role model. Again,
And I fail daily, but I try to make sure that I do better.
absolutely. And
You know,
we recognize
I
that.
told you before, my wife and I, it wasn't like, when I say, like, it's dumb, like, you know what I mean? The dumb
It's
love
an
is
argument.
the 6-second jerk, and then you walk away and the kids are like, you fighting?
Right.
That's bad.
Right. That's bad. They
Very
see
bad.
that. Yeah.
It's not good.
No.
So I don't like when they call each other jerk. So, they gotta see us do it and say, wait a second, I thought you didn't, I thought we couldn't do that.
Absolutely. And a lot of that starts at home. And a lot of that starts with paying more attention to our children, paying more attention to our spouses, paying more attention to everything that's going on in our own households. Like, you can't throw nasty words at your husband or your wife and think that your child is not going to see that and
See
think that that's
everything.
acceptable.
They see everything.
And they absorb everything. And
Oh, God,
people
yeah.
tell you when you have children, they say, oh, children are sponges. They sure are sponges, more than we even realize.
Oh, yeah.
And those things come back to bite you later on when they're like, oh, well, you said this and I heard you say that. And, if we're not treating each other fairly and we're not treating each other with respect, how do we expect our children to treat anybody with respect? It starts at home. I mean, we have to all send our children out into the world every single day. I know this with my own children. I mean, we came from a really bad place. But after that place, it was all I had to make sure that my sons knew that that was not acceptable behavior. That what they saw and what they heard, not only from me, but people that came after me, that was not acceptable behavior. That started at home. I mean, my own children witnessed abuse. So for them to turn out the way they have, I mean, I do give myself credit for
Heck
that.
yeah.
Because one of the most important things that I did was make sure my sons knew that that was unacceptable, that that was not okay. This is not how a relationship works. This is not healthy.
100%. Hey, you said you've been busy.
Busy.
What are you busy with?
Lots of stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything new happening?
Well, maybe something new happened. So besides the foundation, I have signed on a new career. I did take a new career change.
40 years old, new career?
41 years old. That was cute, giving me a year there. Almost 42 years old. But,
You had 6 months of that in your business, don't you?
yeah. But, again, it's never too late to change. And I want more from my children, and I want them to see me succeed in even a better, higher level. So, recently, on top of everything I do for the foundation, I signed on with New York Life, and we're going to keep going. And again,
Are you excited?
I am very excited because it's another avenue of helping people. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I know.
It's pretty incredible that you don't think of it like that, but then you do think of it like that. I've met a couple people along the way that things have happened and they're like, holy cow, like I talked to a woman who didn't do anything. and her
Probably
husband...
anything, financial planning?
Financial planning, life insurance kind of thing, and hadn't done anything, and her husband, who is a specimen of health, running on a nature trail, had a heart attack and died.
Left her with nothing.
Left her with nothing. And now she's living in a apartment when she was living in a 5,000 square foot house because she's never worked a day in her life and has 3 children. So, you know, once again, it's a position where we're helping people, and, you know, it kind of ties a little bit into domestic violence and the women and men of domestic violence, because we need to secure things for our children too. And that's something I personally have done, and it's been like that for 10 or 12 years. I mean, Matt first came to me, I don't even know, Mason was maybe a year old, and I set their future up because I didn't know what my future held. So I made sure that, God forbid anything happened to me, those kids would be taken care of, and they have a financial, for themselves, situation where when they get older, they're going to have access to money that I never had. So, you know, it's important, and again, it's back to helping again.
It's a cool job. Get paid, set people up.
Yeah, and it's
a weird
satisfying.
conversation when I sat down with Matt, and, you know, you're like, I'm all set, I'm all put together. You know, my finances are good, pay my bills, got a good job. God, I was so wrong.
Yeah, you're so wrong.
You got to have that conversation with a pro.
Yep.
And you're now the new pro, and I wish you the best in that.
Thank you.
I miss anything?
I don't think so.
We're good.
I don't think so. Keep bringing coats in. You know, this month I really wanted to redo Project You're Beautiful, which was the handbag project. Unfortunately, I've been extremely busy between, you know, making a transition and working the foundation, which has been extremely busy. We did put it off for this month, but after calling all of the local shelters, and the first year we did 350 handbags, which was pretty spectacular for our first year, and it was actually my first year as a nonprofit. But, you know, we did 350 handbags, and we covered every shelter in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. We actually went tri-state with that project.
Really?
So we're going to start it up again. We've already had some handbags flowing in, and we're going to start that project up again, and we'll probably start doing deliveries again in January. So look for that, because we will be promoting it. And
I forgot to tell you, Salon V Beauty Lounge, Brigham Street.
yeah,
She wasn't at your location for Cuts for Kids.
okay.
But Vanessa Lagoa, the owner, said that, you know, anybody, any victims, you know, I'm thinking about the tanning package that we're going to make a girl feel cool and burn her skin with.
Which I'm totally against, by the way.
Yeah, well, you're right.
I'm always airbrush, though. I airbrush.
But she said that anybody you want to send to her, get their hair done, any
awesome.
victims, just reach out to me and I'll reach out to her. She
That's
said
great.
she'll take care of it. So
I mean, that means a lot.
It does.
It does. It's not only a pick-me-up, but, you know, a lot of times we're striving and struggling to support our children, and we're, of course, left on the back burner because we think of ourselves as last. And so, you know, to be able to go get a free haircut, I mean, that's pretty significant for someone that's not thinking about themselves and thinking about how they're going to support their family. Absolutely. And they're not going to spend that, you know, $50, $60 to go get themselves a haircut and feel good. And you know what? It is just so important. It's part of the empowerment process. And that's what we really push. And that's why I've been as successful as I have, is because we empower women. We empower women to realize that not only do you have a voice, you're a person. You should be respected, and you can do this on your own. And part of empowerment is how we feel. Because I always said, I could never have provided as much as I did for my sons if I didn't believe in myself, if I didn't feel good about myself. Because if you're feeling crappy about yourself, how are you going to portray that onto your kids?
So I was trying to tell you before the show, man. I was getting to that. Have that confidence, you know.
You have to. Oh, you were, yeah.
Have that confidence. You're going to be great.
Yep.
That's all the time we have tonight, guys. A couple things I want to leave you with. Be kind, please. Same thing I leave my son with every day. Be kind, and if you see something, say something. Whether you have a friend or you yourself are a victim, you can reach out to myself or Jen, Chris at New Bedford Guide, or...
You can reach out to either our Facebook page, which is the Help Save Foundation, or the website is thehelpsavefoundation.org.
And I'll link that in the video. Thanks again, everybody. I'm going to be trying to focus more the next couple weeks on the ballot questions and get you guys some information. There's a few very important ones, 1, 2, and 3. And of course, we may have the politicians that want to have some airtime, and we here at New Bedford Guide do that. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, concerns, or any causes that you'd like us here at the New Bedford Guide to help you out with, feel free, email me, Chris at New Bedford Guide. And again, if you are in a situation that you need to get out of it sooner than later. And if you're a friend of somebody, reach out to us. Maybe we can help you get them help. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your viewership. Have a great night.
Night.
Hi, I'm Mark Santos, your Bristol County Clerk of Courts. One of my office's many responsibilities, proudly, is the naturalization of qualified aliens as American citizens. If re-elected, I will continue to uphold the rights of all people in Bristol County and to make sure your Superior Court works for you. I'm Mark Santos, your Clerk of Courts, and I respectfully ask for your vote on Tuesday, November 6th.
Paid for by the Santos Committee.